Okay, so page 86 in your social studies. Page 86, social studies, 86. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our lesson on Italy. So remember, we are still on the continent of Europe. We are still visiting Europe. Last week we went to Germany, Norway, and the Netherlands. Do y'all remember anything from any one of these places? Germany, Norway, the Netherlands. Anything you can tell me? Okay, Asa?
That in Norway the nights are sunny.
Yes, in Norway the sun there one part of Norway the sun will shine all day. Good. Anything else about any one of those places? Things we could find there? You don't even have to announce that to me. Just do it. And I don't understand how. Hold on 1 second. All right, Cairo, what you have? In Netherlands or Holland, we grow a lot. There's a lot of tulips that are grown, okay? Huh? In Netherlands, it floods a lot. So what did they build to help with the flooding waters? A windmill. They built those windmills to help with the flooding. Good. What about Germany? What can we see along the rivers in Germany? Castles, a ton of different castles. Okay, good. And remember last Friday we did the chocolate tasting. We tasted all of the different types of chocolates from Germany. Good.
We do all of the words in one sentence.
In the story, yeah. So talk about like the stuff you've seen. All right, so this is still the continent of Europe. We're gonna go to our last place in Europe, which is Italy. Italy's down here. This is Italy, kind of shaped like you're kicking something. See how the shoe and the kick, yeah. Okay, so that is Italy. So you'll be familiar with Italy because I'm sure you've heard of some of those places. You know how in the Bible we may talk about Rome a little bit? Remember we talked about the Roman king, Caesar and Pilate? Well, Rome is a city inside of Italy. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at page 86 and talk about more about Italy. So when we fly into Italy, they have a beautiful mountain range called the Alps, right? If you remember, whenever we discussed the in Grand Teton, we talked about their nickname is the Alps of America. Well, in Italy, there's actually a mountain range called the Alps, and it's a beautiful mountain range you can see when flying into Italy. And so Italy is shaped like a boot. And so, like I just had showed you on the map, there's a part of it, and then there's a small piece that's off. That's still, it's not connected to Italy, but it's still a part of Italy as well. So Rome is the capital city of Italy. It is actually one of the oldest cities, not only in Italy, but one of the oldest cities in the world. And that's because Rome was also written during Bible times as well. I mean, Rome was a city during Bible times as well. So, yeah, that's how old the city is. In Rome, you can see a lot of some of the buildings that they built during Bible times. You can see some of those same buildings today. You have the Colosseum, and that's what that picture is right there on 86, that picture of the Colosseum. And you can see a lot of different cool buildings that are old. And so as you can see, the Colosseum is kind of broken a little bit, right? But that's because of how old it is. But it's still where you can go and look at it and you can see it. Okay. All right, let's look at 87. Let's talk some more about Italy. So Venice is also another city in Italy. And what's cool about Venice is that instead of having streets, they have these little rivers. Venice is actually like going underground because of the water. But in Venice, instead of traveling down the streets, you would travel down little rivers. And that's a picture on 87. That's a picture of Venice here. So they have all their buildings and they have little rivers that you travel on. They're called canals. And so there's a boat that you can ride on in Italy. It's called a gondola. Have you heard of a gondola before? That's a picture of a gondola right here on 87. That's the gondola boat. This is Venice. Okay. And so you can travel down these boats and yeah, it's really cool. Next, let's go to our next city. Our next city is called Pisa. And so Pisa is another famous city in Italy. They have a famous tower, and it's called the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Do you see it in your book? And do you see how it's leaning? It looks like it's kind of leaning to the side a little bit.
It looks like
So,
it's gonna fall.
yeah, it looks like it's about to fall, but it's not. So what's happening is the ground underneath the Leaning Tower of Pisa is very soft. It's not solid ground. So what's happening every single year is that the Leaning Tower is sinking. Every year it's sinking just a little bit, not a lot, but it's sinking like 2 inches every year. And so as the tower starts to sink, guess what it's doing? It's leaning. So as it's sinking, it's leaning as it's going down. So maybe in another 100 or 200 years, it's probably going to be completely underground because it's sinking every single year. So that's what makes the Leaning Tower of Pisa really cool, is that it's leaning, but it's leaning because it's sinking. And as it sinks, it goes down. Okay. So in Italy, the people are called the Italian people, and they also speak the language of Italian. So that's easy to remember. In Italy, the people are called Italian, and they also speak Italian as well. So there are several foods that we enjoy that come from Italy. Number one being pizza. But listen to that, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, pizza. Do you hear how they're the same exact thing? Yeah. So pizza is a dish that comes from Italy. Also pasta. Do you like pastas?
Yeah.
Pastas are also dishes that come from Italy as well. Not just that, but bread. What about bread? Do you like bread? bread is also something that comes from Italy as well. So pizza, breads, pastas, pretty much all types of pastas. So if you ever go to an Italian restaurant, you'll see a lot of those types of foods on the menu. Lasagna, pasta, Alfredo, spaghetti. These are all different types of foods that they're pastas, but that's like Italian foods, okay? And so also gelato. Have you had gelato before? It's like their version of ice cream kind of, but it's called gelato, but it can be not just like in ice cream form, but it can be like fruity as well. Maybe Friday we'll try some gelato and see how that goes as well. Okay, so this is Italy. This is our last country we are visiting in Europe. So 3 famous cities: Rome, one of the oldest cities in not only Italy but the world. We also have Venice, which is known for their little canals instead of streets, and Pisa, which has the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And the reason it's leaning is because the ground is soft and it sinks a little every single year. The people from Italy are called Italian, and they speak the Italian language. All right, guys, so let's turn to 88. We're actually going to leave Europe now. We're going to go to a whole new continent now. We're leaving Europe. So we were there for a couple of weeks. We're leaving Europe, and we're going to go down here to Africa. Our next country we're going to visit, Africa. The motherland, Africa. Yes, everything started in Africa. When God created everything, guess where he was? In Africa. Okay, so we're going to go to our first country, which is called Kenya. Kenya, Africa is right here. This is the continent of Africa, and this is Kenya. Right here. So Kenya is a beautiful, beautiful city in Africa. Okay, and so as we travel to Kenya, we can see Lake Victoria, which is Africa's largest lake. Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake. We can also visit the capital city of Nairobi. Nairobi is a very large city, beautiful city. That's a picture of it down here on 88. Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. So most people, when they think of Africa, the one thing that they think about is a safari, right? A lot of large animals like lions, giraffes, zebras, hippos, crocodiles, elephants, cheetahs. A lot of these animals their native home is in Africa. And so in Africa, if you go to Africa, you can go on what's called a safari. You can visit these animals. So you know how when you go to the zoo, the animals are locked away in cages, right? And you see the animals inside of the cages, right? Well, on a safari, it's different. The animals roam freely in a safari. You have to stay safe away from them. So you'll usually ride in like a car or like a van, a bus or something like that to visit the animals. So what you do on a safari is you get inside of the car and you'll ride through the land, through the savannah, and you'll be able to see all of these cool animals as they're out in their habitat by themselves. And so, like I said, a lot of cool animals you can see: elephants, giraffes, lions, cheetahs, ostriches, flamingos, crocodiles, hippos. You can see a lot of those cool animals on a safari in Kenya. In Kenya, you also can see a lot of coconut trees because they have beautiful beaches in Kenya, and a lot of coconut trees grow along those beaches in Kenya. A lot of the people also are farmers in Kenya as well, and they grow a lot of corn. A lot of corn as well. Okay. And so one of their most famous mountains, the highest mountain in Africa, is called Mount Kilimanjaro. Mount Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain in Africa, and you can see that beautiful mountain as you leave Kenya. Okay, so that is Kenya, Africa. Kenya is known for the safaris that you can visit, those cool safaris. Also, you can see Mount Kilimanjaro, you'll see Lake Victoria, and also you'll visit Nairobi, which is their capital city as well. Okay? All right, let's keep on going. Let's go to our next country in Africa. This one we're also familiar with, which is Egypt. Egypt is also one of the oldest cities in the world, right? And we know this because we've talked about Egypt in Bible several times, right? When we discussed the plagues and all of that, that all took place in Egypt. So we're going to leave Kenya here. And we're going to travel all the way north to Egypt. This is Egypt right here. So the people from Egypt are called the Egyptians. Obviously, they're called the Egyptians because they're from Egypt and they speak Egyptian as well. So the most famous thing that everyone knows Egypt for are the pyramids. So when you see those pyramids, like we see on page 90, the pyramids, most people already know those pyramids are where? In Egypt. Those pyramids are located in Egypt. And so we know the pyramids are square. You know, we talked about pyramids, man. So the pyramids, why they were built in the first place is because, remember, Egypt would have kings, their pharaohs, right? And so when they would bury their pharaohs, their king, they would bury them inside of a pyramid. That's where they would bury the kings. And not only would they bury the king, but they would bury a lot of the king's gold and all the stuff that he owned, his material things. They would bury those things along with the king. Okay. And so a cool thing the Egyptians did is they mummified the bodies of the people. So have you heard of like a mummy before? Well, those are real things. People, they talk about mummies, but they're real because not real like alive, but I mean that's how the Egyptians buried their dead. They would wrap them up like mummies basically. And so that's what they would do, and they would bury their kings. Only the kings they would bury inside of the pyramids. And so if you ever visit Egypt, you actually can go inside of some of the pyramids to kind of see what they look like as well. And so most of Egypt is a dry, sandy desert, very dry, sandy, hot. They don't get much rainfall in Egypt as well. And most of the Egyptians will live along the Nile River as well. That's the river that Moses was put in as a baby. Remember, whenever his mom had to put him in a basket, that's the river he was placed in, the Nile River. Okay, so Cairo is the capital city of Egypt. Yeah, that's Cairo's name in here. Yeah, but that is the capital city of Egypt, Cairo. Okay, so not only are the pyramids special, but also there is a. Y'all want to talk while I'm talking? Because if you want to, you can go sit outside and do that. Okay, so next we have the Great Sphinx. This is it right here. This is a picture of the Great Sphinx. So what's cool about the Great Sphinx is that they built it to protect the pyramids, right? The Egyptians believe in a lot of nature. They don't believe a lot of things that we learn about in the Bible. They believe their own beliefs, and they believe that the Great Sphinx is like a guard to the tombs, right? Because remember I told you when they built the tombs, they would bury the kings there, but they would also bury a lot of the gold for some of the kings. And the Great Sphinx was built. It has the head of a man, but the body of a lion. The Great Sphinx was built to protect the tombs. Now, can it really protect the tombs? Not really. But that's what they believe, that the Great Sphinx would protect the tomb so that no one would come and try to steal the gold or try to do anything like that. So the Great Sphinx is like a guard to the tombs. Sit down. It's like a guard to the tombs, okay? Let's look at 91. So next you can visit the Suez Canal. And so this canal was built hundreds of years ago, which made it an easier way to travel from Egypt to where we're about to go in the Middle East. Now, the Middle East actually used to be a part of Egypt, but after they built the Suez Canal, used to be a part of Africa, but after they built the Suez Canal, it's no longer a part of Africa anymore. Now it's called the Middle East. It's its own region now, and we're going to visit a country there as well. So if you cross over in the Suez Canal, we will cross over into our next country on page 92, which is called Israel. Now, we've talked about Israel a lot, right? This is where when Jesus did ministry here on earth, this is where he was, in the country of Israel, homeland to the Hebrews, to where Jesus was crucified, like we've been talking about in Bible. This all happened in the land of Israel. When we say he walked on water, all of that, this is where it happened. Okay, but also look how close Israel is to Egypt. That's why, guys, remember when Abraham left to hurry in, whenever the famine hit, where did he go? To Egypt. Remember when the king wanted to kill baby Jesus? Where did they run to? Egypt. That's because Egypt is right next door to Israel as well. So we can go and visit Egypt, and we will visit Bethlehem, right? Something special happened in Bethlehem. Anyone remembers what happened in Bethlehem?
Oh, no, I don't know
What happened? That's where Jesus was born. So we can go to Bethlehem where we can see the shepherds with their sheep, but also Bethlehem is special because that is the city that Jesus was born in. We can also see the Sea of Galilee where Jesus walked on water. Not just that, but this is also the sea where the disciples would often go fishing. So if you go to Israel, you can also go fishing along the Sea of Galilee as well. Yeah, one more time. Okay. So also there's another famous sea in Israel, and it is called the Dead Sea. Now, what's cool about the Dead Sea is that nothing lives inside of it. There's nothing that lives inside the Dead Sea. No fish, nothing. And that's because they can't live inside the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is very, 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 very salty. Very salty sea. The ocean is salty, but the Dead Sea is even more salty. So because of how salty the Dead Sea is, any animals that try to live inside of it will die. So therefore, it's a safe sea where you can go and swim. Not only that, but guess what you can do easily without even having any training, without knowing how to do it? Guess what you can do in the Dead Sea? Float. So right when you get inside of the Dead Sea, you can just simply float. Because of all that salt that's inside of it, it makes it really easy to just lay there and float. Even if you don't know how to float, because of the salt in the water, you can just lay there and your body will just naturally float in the Dead Sea. So there's nothing that you have to be scared of, a shark, a fish, any of that, because nothing lives in there. So you can just go and simply lay and just float in the Dead Sea. Okay. Okay, let's look at 93. Let's go to next important city, which is the capital city of Israel, which is Jerusalem, which we've talked about Jerusalem, right? That is where Jesus did the triumphal entry when he rode into the city. He rode into Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is cool because it's called the city of gold because of the sunlight that reflects off the buildings at sunset. And so we also know this is also where Jesus was tried and arrested. He stood before Pilate, all of that in this city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem, just like Rome and Egypt, are one of the oldest cities in the world, one of the oldest cities. Okay. And so Jerusalem is also known for having gates. They have gates like walls as well, and buildings that have been in that city since Bible times. So that's how old the city is. Okay. And so excuse me. So that is Israel. So visit 5 places this week. That's because we got to try to finish our book next week. So next week we'll go to India, China, and Australia next week, and Japan, and we'll finish up. Okay. So those are our 4 countries we visited. We are visiting this week. Italy, right, where we saw Rome, Venice, Pisa, and then we went to Africa, our next continent, where we went to Kenya, which we visited the safari. We went to Nairobi, the capital city, saw Mount Kilimanjaro, Lake Victoria, and then we went to Egypt, where we saw the pyramids, the Great Sphinx, and then Israel, where we visited the Sea of Galilee, the Dead Sea, Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and that's it. Okay. All right. Good job, guys, with social studies. Let's go ahead and finish our science on today. Yep. All right. So our last season that we didn't cover on page 120, fall 120.
2019.
All right, so we're on page 120. Let's talk about fall, a time to get ready. So we've discussed most of our seasons already. We did do all of them. We did winter, which is a time to rest, spring, which is a time to grow, everything's back alive, summer, where we have the animals are growing, fruits and vegetables are growing. It's a time, just the fun. Okay, and then fall, we're gonna go, it's a time to get ready, because what season falls right behind fall?
Winter.
Winter. So fall is going to prepare for winter. Fall prepares for the winter. Okay. All right. So in fall, the days will get cooler and shorter. Many of the trees, the leaves will start to change colors. They will change into yellow, red, orange, and brown. And so you might say, well, why is that happening? Well, it's a beautiful thing to see it, but what's actually happening is that the leaves are actually dying. That's what's happening. So there's this thing called chlorophyll inside of leaves, and when the chlorophyll is no longer inside of a leaf, the leaf is no longer green. So what then happens is that the color that the leaf originally was, which could be that yellow, that red, that green, that orange, that red, that yellow, that brown, that's why the color comes up. So whenever some fall comes, the leaves will change colors, and that's happening because that chlorophyll is no longer in there. So then the leaves, as they're dying, guess what they do? They start to fall to the ground. That's why this season is called fall, because the leaves will start to fall to the ground. Look at that. Okay. And so what the leaves do is they make this blanket on the ground for winter. And remember, we talked about the seeds in the winter. What do the seeds do in the ground? They rest, right? And so when those leaves are on the ground, those leaves act as a blanket for those seeds that will fall to the ground in the winter. So that's how they all work together. So of course, we know when the winter comes, snow may fall and it makes an extra blanket. And those leaves that fell, they will die eventually all the way into the soil. But it's good because it gives food to the soil. So when spring comes back, that's why everything grows back. So fall is a busy time of the year as the flowers will fade, fruits and seeds gets ripe, birds and animals start to gather in the fall. They're gathering their nuts and their berries, fruits and seeds. Some of them are burying them and saving them because when winter comes, we know that nothing is growing in the winter. So those animals will then gather and prepare for the winter that's coming. Okay. And so that's what they do in the fall. It's a time to get ready. So the leaves start to change colors, they fall, right? And the animals start to gather and get their stuff together as they are preparing for the winter season. So on 121, some birds will migrate to warmer places. So during this time, some birds will actually use this as a time to travel to they will use it as a time to travel to warmer places like in the south. And God gave birds these instincts. Remember, we talked about instincts, and they use these instincts as a time to prepare for, as a time to prepare for the winter. Okay, so jays, woodpeckers, squirrels, mice, they will hide their seeds in the grounds and trees, and they hope to have food during the winter time. And so sometimes they forget that they planted some seeds, but this is a good thing because guess what those seeds will do? They grow back in the spring. So you see, God made it all work out perfectly the way that it is. So perfect. Okay, so that's the fall. That's it. It's just a time to get ready. Everything starts to grow back during the fall. Yep. Yeah. I mean, everything starts to prepare for winter in the fall.
We doing all of our books.
No, that's it. Just that.
All of our pages.
No, I said we were gonna finish.
Yeah, finish the whole thing. No, not today. On the other page.
All right, so let's go ahead and get out your reading, guys. That'll be the last day. Oh no, we have reading and phonics. Get out your reading.
The wolf in the dog? No, the group that goes eggs. No, we're not reading that. We're not. We're not reading the goose and dog one there. Ooh, what about the hat croucher?
All right, guys. So are you ready for 319?
Yes.
All right. So in the first box is with your adjective and noun. Blueberry muffins. Blueberry muffins. Go ahead and write that. Blueberry muffins. Blueberry muffins.
Excuse me. The first.
Yes. Sure.
Okay. Excuse me. The one. My book.
Huh?
My reading book is in my room.
Is that school? Okay, that's okay. That's
You made
fine.
me unmute for that. I'm sorry, Miss Fleur.
No, you good. You good. Let me see. All right, let's go ahead and get into our reading. So yesterday you should have read about the flying horse, yeah? The country and city mouse. Yeah, but did y'all read that yesterday? Okay. All right, let's go to 82, the cat and the birds.
82. That's what I was talking about. This one, I can't understand. Oh, okay, this one. The cat and 82. He's not saying all the other pages you already read. Ooh, the bluebirds. And cat and the bird. I want those bluebirds to be my cats. This one, especially the big one. Just that one. Yeah, I want the big one. The big one is better. Just because we got 9 birds. Yes, all of us.
All right, the cat and the birds. Let's look at 82. AC, you ready to start us off?
Oh, maybe the bird, the cat versus the bird. They both. I want the mommy. I want the mommy.
The cat and the birds. A sly old cat had been told that the birds in the birdhouse were ill. I will put on some glasses and overcoat and visit them, said the cat to himself. Perhaps they will think I am the doctor. Then if they open the door to me, I will eat them up. So he crept up to the birdhouse. I hear you are ill, said he, so I have come to bring you some medicine.
Okay, so the cat, an old cat, he finds out that who's living inside of the birdhouse? Birds, right? So what did the cat try to do to disguise himself? He put on what? He put on glasses, a coat, right? Because he was going to pretend that he was a what? Doctor to visit them, but really and truly, what did he want to do? He really wanted to eat them up. That's what he wanted to do. Okay? And so he goes there, and so he goes to the birdhouse. He's like, oh, I heard you were sick. I have some medicine. Let's see what the mom says. 83, 7. Wait, Michael, you do have it?
Michael is
You do have the book or no? Okay, 83. You just have to unmute it. That's all.
I knew that because I saw him on the Zoom on all studies. I'm so tired. I did not know what I was going to do.
Oh, unmute, yeah.
Yeah, you lied about.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. All right, 83. No, he's reading.
Wait, it's my turn?
Yeah, 83.
Okay. Thank you, said the birds, but we know who you are. We are much more likely to get well without your medicine than with it.
Okay, good. So the birds say thank you, but they were like, we know who you are. So were they able to tell who it was? Yeah, the cat didn't get he didn't trick them like he thought he would. Okay, turn the page, 84. Okay, so yeah, he thought the glasses and coat would disguise him, but it didn't work. All right, let's go to 86. Let's go to our next story. The rabbit and the turtle, okay? 7.
I want to finish the
All right, guys, let's go ahead and cover a couple of things on the board. Oh, sorry, blueberry muffin. That's all right. So I have Kyle saw a lizard. Where am I going to divide between my subject and predicate? Kyle and saw. What's the subject and verb? Subject is Kyle.
and verb saw.
Verb is saw. Jordan's fish can swim. Where am I dividing subject and predicate?
Let's see, Michael. Jordan's fish. I'm not reading the book.
Jordan's fish can. What's the sub? Are you going to read or what? What's the
The
subject?
rabbit and the turtle.
What's
One
the
day the
verb?
turtle was creeping down the road. A
Okay,
rabbit
good.
came
All right, let's put these
along.
ABC are house,
Morning,
tree,
Mr.
joy,
Turtle
and hamster.
said
So
the
of course we
rabbit
start with A.
Don't
Looking at the first letter. Now, in this case,
as
though, we have two of them that have the same first letter. We're going to look at. So we look at the H-O and H-A. So let's keep going. So we don't have any A, B, C,
But
D,
I
E,
think
F,
I
G, H. So out of the two H's, which one goes first?
The rabbit
Hamster and then house. Okay, so let's keep going. H-I, joy, and then. Okay, let's look at this one. Cake, month, cloud, music. Wow, we got two C's, two L's. We have a C-A and a C-L, then an M-U and an M-O. So let's start with C. Out of the two, is it C-A or C-L that will go first? C-A, and then C-L. Red holding. Okay, and then out of M, we have M-O-M-U, O, and then okay. All right, so we have the rabbit and the turtle, right? So the turtle's walking, minding his business. The rabbit comes along and asks him, he says, "Do you wish you could run as fast as I?" Right? But the turtle says, "Yeah, you probably can run faster than me, but I can beat you in a what? A race, okay? Did the rabbit believe that? No, and so he says, we need to race it. All right, let's go to 87, Elijah. All right, so guys, remember we talked about a dictionary and how to determine if a word will fit on a page. So these words are called entry words. That's words that are in the dictionary. We discussed that a dictionary helps us to understand the definition of a word, what it means, things like that. So on this page, we have lead and legend. Remember, your entry words. This word is the first word on the page. This word is the last word on the page. So for example, just to
Let
review,
us go.
say if I have it, and I have these words here. I have mess.
The big
And what's it?
by the river.
Methodical. Okay, mess will be my first word on the page. Methodical is my last word.
When you
Okay.
count to
What
three.
you do is
One,
in between those
two,
first one and last one,
three.
obviously there's a whole bunch of other words that fall in between.
away
So what we're doing here, because this will be on your phonics test soon, you're going to determine which one of these words would actually fit on this page. So we have L-E-A all the way to L-E-G. Let's figure out which one of these will go. Let's look at lemonade. Lemonade is L-E-M. So we're between A and G. Does M fall between A and G? Does M fall between A and G? Between A to G. M. No. So this would not be on that page. Let's look at leg. It's L-E-G.
We don't have one.
Well, it doesn't have to have an A. So we got L-E-A all the way to L-E-G. Leg is L-E-G. Would leg be on this page?
Yes.
It would. Only way it wouldn't be on this page is if the next letter was after E. So it would be L-E-G-O. Then it wouldn't work, right? But since it's L-E-G, leg does fall on this page. Let's look at this one. L-E-N-S. So we have L-E-N. Does N fall between A and G?
No.
Nope, way over there. So this one wouldn't work either. Okay? Y'all kind of get it?
Yes.
This will be on the test. Let's practice some more.
Test
Okay, good. So they decide to have a race, and they decide that they would race from one big tree to the tree by the river. Okay, so they start the race. Who, of course, is winning in the beginning? The rabbit. Okay, 88. Brayley. All right, so let's put some more. Online, do we understand how to do this? Because last week I was grading your test. The test that I kept telling you to write your list on every single week. And I had a lot of I don't know my list on the test. Very interesting. So then I write it.
That's on y'all. Not fault. And then no problem.
I was
Alright, so let's look at this. So our extra words, guys, are newly and nickel. Okay, these are our extra words. So we are trying to determine which one of these three would fall in between newly and nickel. So we have N-E-W and N-I-C. So our letters range from N-E-W all the way to N-I-C. So let's look at next. Next is N-E-X. From N-E-W all the way to N-I, it's a whole different letter, would next fall in this page.
No.
N-E-X to N-I.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at N-E-W. And then N-I starts a whole nother letter. So anything that falls after W, which is X, yes, that would be on this page. Would you? Let's look at never. N-E-W to N-I. N-E-V. No, it wouldn't. V comes before W. There's no way for it to be on that page. And then N-I-H-T, N-I-G, N-I-C. Does G fall before C?
Yeah.
Y'all better not say yeah whenever the first three letters are A, B, C. So G is way over here. Y'all look at this to help you, okay? Look at this. N-I-C and then N-I-G. That would be way over here. That's not on the same thing. Okay, let's practice some more.
That's how we started, but now.
Yeah, I think that's because of how this one is set up. That's probably why it's a little harder.
Oh, there.
Okay, let's do another one. Bye, Dennis, are you paying attention or no?
They're probably doing this more, and that's why I got this.
Why's your stuff upside down?
Oh yeah, this is
Okay, so let's look at these. This one probably gonna be a little.
Yeah.
Alright, so they start the race, the rabbit takes off, and he's winning so far. He's so far ahead. What does he decide to do?
Take a break.
Take a break. He said, I'm gonna stop and rest a little bit. I'll take a little break. And before you know it, he fell asleep. But who kept going? It's the turtle, okay? David, 89.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Alright, so okay, so we have planets and plastic. These are our two words. Okay? We have P-L-A-N and then P-L-A-S. Okay? So let's look at plaid.
He was fast.
Plaid. Plaid is P-L-A-I. Look where your page starts. P-L-A-N. So if it starts at N, that means anything that came before will not work.
No. Oh, no.
Anything that comes after. So P-L-A-I.
No.
Would plaid be on the page? I comes before N. That's impossible.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Next we have plants. So again, we have P-L-A-N, P-L-A-N, and P-L-A-S. So now this one's different because it's P-L-A-N, P-L-A-N. So what do? Go to the next letter. So that's an N. So what this be? So listen, between E, S. From E all the way to S, do you see that N? You better not tell me no. E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, stopping at S. N does fall in between, so what does be on this page?
Yeah.
Yes, so let's look at player. We have P-L-A-Y. Remember, we're between N and S. N to S. Does Y fall anywhere in between there? From N to S, and look where Y is. Does it fall there?
No.
No, it doesn't. Why is way over here? Well, you probably saying it because it's on the same side, but remember the letters go O-P-Q-R-S. That's comes after. Well, you just said you did.
I'm 80%.
Well, yeah, what?
I'm 80%.
Okay.
Two more. I get it. No, it's 70. I'm 80.
Okay, so he takes a nap, he falls asleep, he wakes up, he doesn't see the turtle, right? So, but anyway, where was the turtle? At the finish line. He thought that falling asleep, he's like, I'm gonna wake up, I'm still gonna win. Little did he know that even though the turtle was going slow, the turtle did not stop, and the turtle ended up passing him up and winning. So good. All right, you can go ahead and put your reading up, guys. So that's it for our morning Zoom. We will meet this afternoon, but we'll be very quick. Asa, we'll meet early this afternoon, okay? I'm gonna send a message, but we'll meet at 1 today instead of 2, okay?
But
But I'll send a message to your mom to let her know we're gonna meet earlier today.
but I
All
might
right.
not be there.
Huh?
I might not be there.
You might not come to this afternoon? Okay, that's fine. That's okay. Micah, if you do come back later, Micah, we're gonna meet at 12, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, so y'all have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow for Bible and phonics. Bye-bye.
Bye.